A former Bangor Taekwondo instructor accused of sexually assaulting an 11-year-old girl made his first court appearance today. 59-year-old John Keeler is charged with 10 counts of gross sexual assault with a child under 12, as well as other unlawful sexual misconduct charges. Keeler was arrested Friday. The Penobscot County District Attorney's Office says he worked as a Taekwondo instructor in the Bangor area. Court documents say the charges involve assaults against a family member over several months in 2023, which happened when Keeler was alone with the child, taking her to Taekwondo lessons. They say he told the child he would kill himself if she told anyone. Keeler is being held on $50,000 bail. If released, he was ordered by the judge not to have contact with minors or to have dangerous weapons.